Now, it may take you a long time to master this yes, no, and you may have it immediately. It took me 6 months to even begin to use a pendulum because I was extraordinarily skeptical. You can see I'm a headstrong type of person, and skeptical and completely sort of immersed in materialism in a way. You know, I was a missile engineer when I was 20, in my early 20s. You know, and so I was deeply embedded into material reality, although actually I was inventing things and I had patents to my name when I was very young. Because actually I was using my intuition without any idea that I had an intuition, because nobody told me. And it amazed me that I could do all sorts of inventive things that other people couldn't do because I had a strong natural intuition. Anyway, so the problem you've got is, if you're anything like me, you've got this skepticism and you have to get past it, or you have to get past your belief that you can't do the O-ring technique or use a pendulum. One thing you could do, you can try all sorts of things, but you could pair up with somebody and practice it between you, and that I'd recommend. And you could also practice this. You could describe to each other your own skepticisms and why you think you can't do it. And here's a story that I want to tell you that I got from a scientist type professor in the States. He was telling me about hands healing. He was saying that he does experiments on mice and hands healing. And he can take people, he takes anybody, and he has precancerous mice, specially genetically programmed, and he then do hands healing. And with the ones where they do the healing, the mice recover. And the ones where they don't do the healing, the mice don't recover. And the people who do it, so the ones who are sensitive and aware can tell that they can explain exactly what's happening. They can feel the energy through their hands. They can see what's going on. They can see energy moving and all sorts of things when they're very sensitive. But the ones who are thick as a plank, a bit like me, who don't have that sort of sensitivity, can't see what's going on, can't feel it, but they can still do it. And the results are exactly the same. So everybody can do hands healing, and with the same results. It's just that the sensitives can tell you what they're doing and the insensitives can't tell you what they're doing, but it still works. And it's the same with the O-ring technique. Just because you can't explain it doesn't mean to say, or understand it, doesn't mean to say you can't do it. There's nothing about understanding that gets in the way of it. So it's important to know that you can do it. You have the talent. It's innate in every human being. You can't get around that, and there's no way you can't do it. It's just that some of us, it's more difficult than others. And the obvious analogy is riding a bicycle. You know, pretty much everybody can learn to ride a bicycle. It really isn't that difficult, but it's amazingly, it's just, you have to absolutely get on the two-wheeled vehicle and start moving it and getting used to it. It's no other way that we know of teaching to ride a bicycle. Well, I have actually tried to teach my children to ride bicycles, but really getting them something they can use and getting them to try it, they rapidly get the hang of it. And they get the hang of it mostly because they see other people doing it. Their best friend can do it. They see adults riding around on bicycles. That's really important. So another way of learning the O-ring technique is to find an expert, or find people who do dowsing for a living or anything like that. Find people who are normally, or get to a group, go to a training program, sign up somewhere, there will be a group. And one way or another, just by hanging out with people who can do it, or doing a training program, or talking it through with others, you will master this technique. Obviously, in the beginning, you will just about be able to do yes and no, but not very reliably. And the idea is to get to the point where you can do it you can do it very easily, all the time, anytime, without any big effort. And eventually you can just do it in your mind, and eventually your intuition, you just have direct intuition about something. So you just look at something and you know. That's what you're aiming for. But in the beginning, you have to go slowly and develop the skill.